What is up, guys? My name is David Lee and I'm Asian with Hat.
I'm Tony Pat, known as Whisper with Aces and Eights.
Before this video starts, we want to just let you guys know that this video is going to have a lot of crazy things going on, and we want to at least give props to AMS, Cody, and Plies for putting on a lot of hours before this dam even started. So props to them, and we want to just thank them again. And Tony, you guys put in a lot of work for the dam.
Yeah, we
right?
do. Like I said, we're one of the main teams for Op4 for them, so we put months in advance. We're planning this, and guys, there's fog of war. We had some at this event. There's not. You can't blame Plies. You can't blame AMS. It just happens. So guys, take it with a grain of salt. Watch it and guess and go for yourselves.
So we hope you guys enjoy the video, and we're gonna go ahead and start the video. So roll the intro. Okay. How you doing, guys? My name is David Lee. I've been doing AMS for since 2012.
My name's Keegan. I've been doing it since late 2016.
I've had an experience of dams since I want to say 2016. I've been doing dams for about 4 to 5 times. Keegan,
I've only done 2, so significantly less experience than David, but still experienced with him. So we got to the first building. We kind of were confused a little bit on the order of things when we first got there between teams 1 and 2. There's a miscommunication, I guess, or something. I don't really know.
Right.
We get there and we get in the first building, clear it. OC comes in and tells us we were in the wrong building, but I had a flip down, phone on my chest, and I looked at our map and we were on the correct building that had initially briefed us. Eventually we regrouped outside, resplit the teams, and then OC allowed us to go to the next building.
We noticed that when we got out, the enemy was like immediately to our right, or like literally all the civilians were immediately to our right. So do you think we were possibly visible?
The civilian side was pretty well lit. They were having a party of sorts going on over there, and we weren't really backlit, so to speak, so I can't really tell if we were. But we had our thing to do there with the building, so at the time we just had to ignore them and keep pushing, doing our own thing.
Found no contact, right?
No, there was.
But there was some intel stuff in there.
Yeah, there was a little bit of intel, a little bit of drugs, nothing major, nothing crazy, and then we just pushed on the same manner to the third house.
Okay, team 2 to the front, or team 2 to the front door, team 1 to the back door. We're going, we're going.
Oh God! This guy's scared!
And the third house is actually the one where we found a person in there that had his leg cut off, right?
Yeah, we got there, we had one of our pilots that we were looking for that had a wounded leg, so we started CCD on him.
CCD, what does that mean?
Combat casualty care.
Okay.
So we had guys working on him.
Yep.
We had, I believe, 1 contact in the back room that was taken care of, along with another friendly that was also given medical attention.
Okay.
At that point, we established a casualty collection point, CCP.
And that was actually behind the third house, right?
Yes, that was directly behind the third house. So we kept them there with some medics, and we had them working on them and made sure they were being appropriately looked at.
On 3, ready? 1, 2, 3. We need 2 more bodies in this house right now. 1, go! All right, CCP. I need a lead. I need a lead. Go. I need 1 man on security. Hold on. Swing around. All right. Away from the doorway. Bring it down slowly. All right. Check the tourniquet. Make sure it's still intact. Back up.
I'm lighting it up. You run for
Oh, wow. Okay.
After building 3, we started assembling our teams, and then when we hit building 4, we snuck up to it, and then we got paused, right?
Yeah, so we got to building 4 and paused. At that point, range control had come over,
Gave us a briefing.
Talked to us, gave us a briefing. We were dealing with a live explosive, obviously, because we were using real breaching charge. So he gave us a quick safety briefing about what's going to happen, what's going down, what to expect. I don't have any problems with that. We're dealing with a live explosive here, and most
Safety
of all
things.
of us are not accustomed to it, so it's a safety aspect.
I have control. 5, 4, 3, 2. Go.
So we breached House 4. We took a couple casualties from our team on the way in. Killed whatever enemies were in there. Got our guys back up and healed.
And then we started finding more intel. We had to stop the house, or stop in the house.
Yeah.
Quickly assess through the house and actually look through the rooms, right?
Yeah. Once we had gained control of the situation and killed all the combatants, at that point we started to search for intel,
Okay.
drugs, that kind of sort of thing.
Everybody get the fuck out of here. Stack on this corner.
After assembling it, we were getting like this, like OC yelling in our ears, right? Like,
Yeah. So after we took everything, or took care of everything in the house, it was time to cross the street and hit House 5. So I pulled my guys out and I started to stack them on the back side of one door, on the back side of the wall, no mistake.
And I think I told Kiara, get your team ready. We're gonna go different directions so that way we can invade a house.
Yep. Yeah, we were trying to have two teams file across in two separate areas, so we're not a big clump. So at that point, Range Control and OC started to get pretty mad at us, and we had no idea until eventually they told us. So we had to file back around and
Literally just
reclump.
go back to the fourth house. Like,
Yeah, it threw off all the coordination we had
and the momentum.
and the momentum. So it pushed us back down to, we're gonna tell you when, and at that point you're gonna run across the street in a big clump.
Okay, good man. The rest of y'all, all of you, that way now.
Hey, all teams, come on, let's go. Hey, we gotta get them.
That way now. All of you.
Hey, let's go. Let's go. It's our first ride. Hey, we just secure. We gotta move it. Let's go. Police services dead guy in. Can I get an ID of the dead guys? He's inside working with the satchel charge. Hey, Kiara's right here.
I want to say the party was just starting to notice after all the explosions.
Yeah,
right?
at that point they blew up the explosives on the ground on the outside. That was to simulate blowing up the house. And it was at that point the party started to notice, and we started to take some blank fire contact from the other side of the street.
Right.
At that point they let us en masse go across.
Get on your face! Get on your face! Get on your fucking face! Get on your face! Your left, right there, right there. Get on your face! Get on your face! Get on your fucking face! Get on your face! Get on your face! Get on your face! Right now! Get on your goddamn face! Get on the all the way down! Face down! All the way down! All the way down! Hands up! Hands all the way up! There you go! Put your hands on your head! Put your hands on your head! Keep eyes on that motherfucker over there! Hey, who's behind me?
Whoa.
We have contact going on the far back side of the building. So we have part of the team taking care of that and getting in that gunfight. I take myself and about 4 other guys into the building. So we get in there, and there's nothing in there. There's nobody. But then OC comes in, mad as all hell, because we weren't supposed to be in this building, apparently. During the briefing, we were told to search this building. It was specifically one of the numbered buildings that we were supposed to be searching. So that was pretty confusing that they had given us 2 separate instructions there. One of not go in this building, and then 2, you're definitely supposed to go in this building. There will be drugs. There will be
So there's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, it was a conflict, and it threw it off.
God damn it, David.
Get out! We don't get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out!
Get the fuck out of here right now!
Well, I was pretty confused at the time being, because once again I looked down at my little flip phone and I was like, no, we're definitely in the right building. This was one they definitely told us to look into. So it was pretty confusing at the time.
Okay. So after that one, after we get from the 5th building, we start hitting the chaos, the absolute chaos, right?
Yeah, so after the 5th building, we've
Just straight
killed
up
the 3 or
up.
4 fighters.
Yeah.
So we walked up to the party they were having. We started asking them, if they, hey, have you seen these guys? Have you seen them around here? They're wanted men, they're dangerous men. Everyone at the party's pretty mad because we've been shooting guns, we've blown stuff up, understandable.
And then
They're not being helpful or cooperative at all.
And whoever did this, I will give them props. They were starting to flip on and off lights. We could look, someone told me after, you can literally look to your immediate right or look to the trace of the light, and you would have found the guy just literally unplugging it on and off.
Yeah, from their aspect of making it confusing, it was pretty smart. It was pretty smart
it was a very smart
We went
tactic.
from a well-lit area to
Literally
completely
chaotic,
dark, so we had to bounce back and forth.
Right, and our minds were straight up.
It was pretty struggling to work.
Yeah,
with
and
for
then
a
we were
while.
just starting to get into stressful modes just from the amount of light and then people yelling at us, right? Right, so after that, I want to say all hell broke loose.
Yeah, at that point, we kind of just started to ignore the lights and ignore the people. We found our 4 or 5 guys we were looking for. We started to wrestle with them. It was pretty challenging. They put up a pretty good fight, which I don't have a problem with. The one issue was we were given training flex cuffs, and we'd go to tie them down, but because the training flex cuffs, they don't tighten, so our guys would just bust out of them and stand up and run away, and we'd have to fight them all over again.
So at that point, I think what they should have done is just literally say, "Hey, you are now under arrest," because
that's what I started to do. I started to tell them hey man, we'd put them down and tighten them down, hey man, these are training flex cuffs. If you struggle, they will loosen, but for all intents and purposes, you're tied down right now.
Yeah.
And all the work players who were told that just struggled and acted like their hands were then tied behind their backs.
And so you were probably dealing with, I think, maybe Ryan, who was giving you the most hardest time.
Yeah, he's a big beefy guy, so it was quite a struggle with him.
Okay, no, maybe was he tall and big, or was he short and
short and very strong? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Ryan. So Ryan, I think in that moment he is in the briefing. I want to say we were briefed that he's a very strong person or something like that.
Yeah, and he definitely lived up to that. My issue with it was from the admin aspect, they should have told the role players that, hey, we're giving fake flex cuffs. Once they put them on you, don't bust out of them. You're for all intents and purposes, you're tied down. So that way they know not to continue to struggle, because there was a point where we were struggling for 5-10 minutes with these guys, repeatedly taking them on and off, and it lengthened the process.
Do you think you could have done any better with trying to restrain these people? Maybe.
Honestly, a little bit, yeah. We could have organized who was actually wrestling and who was keeping civilians back. There was a point where I had a civilian come up and try to take my handgun out of my holster. So I had to pause fighting the target and go to fighting this guy and making sure he couldn't get access to the handgun.
Hands tied right now.
Medic up on me, medic!
Hey, I need a medic on me now. This man right now.
Are y'all scared of this motherfucker or what? Hey, look at this shit. I'm standing right fucking next to it. Hey, man! Hey! What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, what's going on, man? You messing with my guy? Hey! Hey! You messing with my dude?
Hey! Hey! Get back! Get a fucking team here right now. Why are you just pushing people?
What are you doing with my guy?
Pushing people!
Man, what are you doing? Hey! What are you doing with my friend?
Roll the other side.
Check your patience. Talk to her.
Hey, are you still with me? Hey!
Shoot me! Shoot me! Shoot me! I know you just want to shoot everybody. Hey, shoot me then. If you're just going to shoot everybody, shoot me. Look, you're just harassing people. This is against the law. He's a United States citizen. He's being rid of his Miranda rights.
Back!
This is illegal. He's going to be acquitted. Nothing's going to happen to him. Hey, he's my friend. Hey,
These people did nothing wrong! Get back!
Are we actually tightening it down on you for serious?
There's nothing wrong with you, man.
Get over what you're doing.
Once they had accepted that they were in handcuffs, they were fairly cooperative. Some of them struggled a little bit, but we usually had 2 people, 1 on each shoulder, pushing them back to the helicopter. It only was about a 100-yard walk. We still had 2 guys wounded, and then 2 living guys back at the initial CCP that were watching them and taking care of them, along with 1 of the designated medics that was attached to the team. So we get the hostiles back to the helicopter. At that point, we're attempting to go back and grab those guys and fully extract all of our teammates back there. At that point, OC said, "Nah, you guys have forgot about them. Leave them." That didn't sit well with me. I didn't like leaving my guys back there.
I think I had that same situation. Like, we're going back from. Like, no, you're not. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
I even grabbed 3 of my guys directly and was like, "Hey, you, me. We're going back there to the CCP. We're grabbing our guys." And the OC physically stopped me and said, "No, get back on the helicopter. We're leaving. You've left them." So that didn't sit well with me, leaving guys behind like that.
I think that's also partially a consequence. That, I mean, did Aaron have comms?
Yeah, he was talking to me the whole time.
And what happened? Like,
I wanted to get the targets back on the helicopter first before we grabbed
Got
them.
it.
Just
Got
handle
it.
one thing and then handle the other.
got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but because we got the targets on the helicopter, the OC deemed mission complete, done, leave them behind.